Alright, page 209, Exploring Amp Designer. Which guitar amp to use depends on the musician's style as well as the venue where they will perform. The use of effects is just as subjective, and as with musical styles, everybody has their favorites. When Chad is performing with his band, he typically travels with two different guitar amplifiers, a valve-trained Trenton and a Fender Blues DeVille, depending on the size of the event. In this exercise, you'll explore the Amp Designer interface so you'll understand the various parameter areas and know how to change or customize amp models. So the first thing we need to do is drag the single take riff that you've been working with to the top of the track, now called Brit and Clean, and select the Brit and Clean header if it's not already selected. So moving this up, selecting Brit and Clean. Moving to page 210. Number 2, it says, take a look at the Brit and Clean amp icon in the library. You're about to get a much closer look at the default amp. In the top right corner of the Smart Controls pane, click the Amp Designer button. That's the one that's right next to the pedals board button. So right here. Amp Designer opens with a much larger and realistic version of the current Brit and Clean amp model. Feel free to resize the Amp Designer interface as needed. So you remember how to resize? So you can view as 50%, whatever. You can even make it bigger at 200%. That's huge. Or you can simply grab it down here in one of the corners and resize it that way. Alright, it says, hello, British Combo. What you're looking at is the British Combo complete amp model used for the default Brit and Clean sound. Each complete amp model includes an amp, a speaker cabinet, an EQ preset, and a microphone that recreates a well-known guitar amp sound. I'm telling you guys, you can knock GarageBand if you want to, but it is a powerful, powerful digital audio workstation with a lot of different things you can do. Not only are you switching out amp models and heads and speaker cabinets, but you can also switch out what type of mic you're using. Like right now, that's a Royer 121, which is an awesome mic, and you can also move this microphone around, placing it at different places on the speaker itself, which is huge. It's awesome. So the Amp Designer plugin has the following parameter areas: model parameters. These are the pop-up menus in the back bar at the bottom of the Amp Designer interface that are used to choose a complete amp model, including an amplifier, a cabinet, an EQ type, and a microphone. That's all this stuff down here. I could change the type of model, the type of amp, the type of cabinet. What if I didn't want two 12-inch speakers here? What if I wanted something bigger? What if I wanted 4 12-inch speakers? Look at that, it changed to 4 12-inch speakers. What if I wanted something small? What if I wanted just one 12-inch speaker? There it is. So let me go back to the 212s. Same thing with microphones. You can change what type of microphone you use as well. The amp parameters. You'll find these knobs on both ends of the knob section. They are used to set an amp's input gain, presence, and master level. Yeah, all of these right here, which you'll also find down here. Effects parameters. These are in the center. These are the center knobs sections and control the integrated effects. So you've got the effects right up here, and you've got some effects down here as well. Page 211. Microphone parameters. You'll find these parameters on the right side of the interface. You can use them to select the type of microphone and the position of the microphone that captures the amplifier and cabinet sound. And it's good to kind of go through each one of these microphones and check them all out, and also move them around. Typically, if you're on the outside of the speaker, toward the outside, it's going to be a warmer sound. Toward the inside, it's going to be a brighter sound. Closer you are, it's going to be brighter. The further you are away, though, it's going to be warmer. So if you mic it over here, it's going to be a lot warmer sound. Warmer and brighter. We move that back to the 121. Output slider. This slider is in the lower right corner of the interface, and that controls the final volume level for the amp designer's output. This is not the same as the master control knob on the amp, which is used for both sound design and controlling the level of the amp selection. So let's try some of the different parameter areas to see how they work together to complete the overall sound of the amp model. You can choose different complete amp models in the model pop-up menu in the lower left corner of the amp designer interface. It says to start playback to hear the Brit and Clean default sound. Alright, click the model pop-up to see all 25 complete amp models, and select the Boutique Retro Combo to see a completely different type of amp model. So over here, model, we're going to go to Boutique Retro Combo. Look at that, how beautiful. Nifty look and sound. Well, let's listen to it. I don't know what it sounds like. Actually has a really nice sound. Moving the page over to 212, number 6, it says select a different amp model or go ahead and try them all. When you're finished, select the large tweed combo and stop playback. I'm just going to go straight to that. You guys can go ahead and look at all the other ones and audition those. So we need the large tweed combo. There it is. Let me listen. Yes. So that's a tweed Fender amp. It's got a beautiful sound. I like it. It says let's reduce the size of the interface to focus on the model parameters and knobs area of Amp Designer. Then you can try out some of the parameter areas to see how they work together to complete the overall sound of the amp. So number 7, it says click the disclosure triangle at the bottom of the Amp Designer just to the left of the mic pop-up. The Amp Designer window reduces to just a small interface with all the essential parameters and controls without showing the amp, cabinet, and mic position. So there we go. Now we have the top knobs that are on the top of the combo amp. Moving to 213. It says compare the knobs area in the Amp Designer to the knobs on the top of Chad's amp. If you want to look at that again, it's right there. The amplifier parameters are gain. This knob sets the amount of preamplification that is added to the input signal. Basically, it raises the level of the guitar sound on its way from the guitar into the amp, hence the name preamplification. Presence. This knob adjusts the ultra-high frequency range that is above the range of the treble control. The presence levels affect only the master output as controlled by the master knob. So that's presence right there. And then master, you can turn this knob to set the output volume of the amplifier signal sent to the cabinet. Number 8, it says drag the reduced Amp Designer so it's directly above the Smart Controls pane. It says change the model pop-up to British Combo. The Amp Designer knobs area match the screen controls for the track. It says coincidence? I think not. Clearly they are meant to go together like two presets in a pane. Click the big blue power button to turn off the Amp Designer. So let's go ahead and do that first. We need to choose the British Combo. British Combo. Alright, so that's that. That matches this one down here. And then click on the big blue power button. Flipping the page over to 215. The gain and reverb screen controls are disabled or dimmed. Now you know where the touch of reverb was coming from in the default electrical guitar patch. It says click the power button on Amp Designer again to turn it back on. Now that reverb is back on, why not try a few of the different reverb sounds available in Amp Designer? Number 11. Above the center of the knobs area on Amp Designer, click the word Reverb to see the Reverb pop-up menu. So there's Reverb. I'm going to click it and look at all the different types of reverb that we can select. It says start playback and try each of the choices of the reverb pop-up. When you're finished, set the reverb pop-up back to simple spring. Okay, so we're starting playback. And I'm going to turn the reverb up. And then return it to simple spring. It says click the EQ pop-up menu above the bass, mids, and treble knobs to see various EQ presets. There's EQ. If I click that, we've got Vintage, US Classic, Modern, and Boutique. It says start playback and try each of the different EQ presets in the EQ pop-up to hear how they sound with the current amp model. When you're finished, set the EQ pop-up back to the British Bright and stop playback. So you can see how all of those different EQ presets cause the tone of the guitar to change. Number 15, click the disclosure triangle next to the mic pop-up menu to display the entire Amp Designer interface. All right. There we go. As you can see, Amp Designer is an exciting way to get the look, feel, and sound of well-known amps. We will pick up in the next video.